Welcome to Mystic Matrix. Subscribe to decode what lies beneath reality. Your body isn't tired, but your mind feels heavy all the time. Even on days when you barely move, your thoughts feel dense, crowded, and restless. You wake up without energy, not because you didn't sleep, but because your mind never truly shut down. This isn't laziness, it isn't weakness, and it's not a personal failure. Something structural is happening. In the early 2000s, neuroscientists studying cognitive load noticed something strange. People reported feeling exhausted, even when their physical activity was minimal. Office workers, students, remote employees, all describing the same sensation: mental fatigue without physical cause. The brain scans told a clear story. Their brains were highly active, even during supposed rest. You can see this in everyday life. Someone sits on a couch after work, scrolling through their phone, believing they are relaxing. But neurologically, their brain is doing the opposite. It's switching contexts every few seconds. A message, a video, a headline, a memory, a comparison. Each switch has a cost. The brain pays for it with energy. This is called cognitive switching cost, and it's one of the most underestimated drains on mental energy. Your brain evolved in an environment where changes were slow and meaningful. A sound meant danger. A movement meant food or threat. Today, your brain reacts to notifications with the same alert system, even though none of them are truly urgent. A well-known experiment at Stanford showed that people who frequently multitask perform worse on tasks requiring focus, memory, and emotional regulation. Not because they are incapable, but because their brains are overloaded. The system never resets. It just keeps stacking processes. Think about this. Your brain was never designed to process the lives, opinions, emotions, and expectations of thousands of people every day. Yet, that's exactly what modern digital life demands. Social feeds alone expose you to more human input in 1 hour than someone a century ago experienced in weeks. This constant exposure creates a background noise in the mind. You might not consciously notice it, but it's always there. A low-level hum of unfinished thoughts, comparisons, and mental obligations. Over time, the brain adapts by dulling emotional responses. This is not depression in the clinical sense. It's protective numbness. Psychologists call this emotional blunting. When the nervous system is overstimulated for too long, it reduces sensitivity. Pleasure feels weaker. Curiosity fades. Even rest feels unsatisfying. People often describe it as feeling flat or disconnected, as if life is happening behind glass. There's a reason vacations don't fix this anymore. Studies on burnout show that time off without mental disengagement doesn't restore cognitive resources. If the mind remains stimulated through screens, news, or constant planning, recovery doesn't occur. Rest requires cognitive silence, not just physical stillness. In brain imaging studies, the default mode network, the system responsible for reflection, memory integration, and emotional processing, only activates when the brain is not focused on external input. Silence is not empty, it's essential. Without it, experiences don't integrate, they just pile up. This is why many people feel mentally older than they are, not because of age, but because their minds carry too much unresolved information. Too many open loops. The brain, like any system, slows down when overloaded. And here's the important part. This isn't a moral issue. It's not about discipline or willpower. It's environmental. You are living in a system that constantly extracts attention and rarely allows recovery. The fatigue you feel is a rational response to an irrational load. If this continues long enough, mental overload transitions into burnout. Not dramatically, quietly. Motivation declines, focus weakens, presence disappears. People don't break, they fade. And because it happens slowly, they blame themselves instead of the system. Awareness is the first real intervention, not productivity hacks, not motivation speeches. Understanding that boredom is not a problem to fix, but a signal that the brain is resetting. That silence is not wasted time, but neurological maintenance. Your mind needs empty space the same way your body needs sleep. Without it, everything feels heavier than it should. This video isn't meant to alarm you. It's meant to name something you probably felt but never had language for. If this felt accurate, you're not imagining it, and you're not alone. This channel exists to explain the invisible pressures shaping the modern mind. Subscribe if you want to understand what's happening before exhaustion becomes normal. If this kind of content makes you think differently, subscribe to the channel and stay curious.